Hi everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. It's Leo speaking. Today I have the privilege and pleasure to introduce you, give you a demonstration, a little bit of a tutorial as well on how to use the new fantastic Mela 3 from Nikolozi. It's a really fantastic suite of applications, not just a synth. You can use it as a synth, but you can also use it as an insert effect for example, inside AUM, and you can also use it as a Midi processor as well. So you can create some fantastic composition just using it without other tools. But you can see how easy you can do things with it, and if you already use the Mela 3, it's of course straightforward in terms of moving to Mela 3. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Thank you. Okay, remember Mela 3 works in standalone mode, but it also works as an AUV3 plugin. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to show it to you inside AUM. So let's create an audio channel and let's select Mela 3 from there. And also let's link the keyboard, the AUM keyboard to Mela 3. So let's click and open and maximize the windows. So as you can see, it takes from Mela 2 as a user interface. So if you are familiar with that, you find access to different views here on the middle left part of the window. So, and the one which are active have a little dot on the right hand side. So you can enable and disable the preset view, you can enable and disable the performance view there, and also the oscillator view. You also have a view of the internal keyboard. Let me cover that very quickly. Here is where you can click on notes, normal keyboard, going up and down octave. Okay, you can scroll the keyboard, lock the keyboard. Then you can hold the notes. You can set the velocity for all the notes. Nice. Nice, right? And I will click on every dial to go back to the default settings, right? Here you have the pitch bend. And then access to the modulation wheel. Okay, perfect. Now let's disable the keyboard view, as I already have enabled the AUM keyboard. Down here you have settings. If you click on it, you can change the themes in terms of coloring. I like the raspberry one. Then you have access to help, like the user guide, the notes, the FAQ, the forum. You can email for feedback. You can connect to Nikolozi as well directly. And also you have access to leave a review, the beta testing program, and the artist presets. The internal user guide is quite nice, so I recommend that you use that as well. So starting from the top left, you have a logo. If you click on it, you have access to your About section of the application, so you can see the version, who's done this design engineering, Nikolozi, and the copyright message. Next, you have access to the preset view. You click on default here on the preset. It will enable the preset view, which is the same thing of clicking here to enable it and disable it. Here you have the top groups, so user leads, pads, bass, keys, effect. And then below you have access to the presets within the group. Here you have a three dots for a menu. Everywhere where you see a three dot in the application, you have access to a sub-menu. And you can see here we were choosing preset alphabetically, so that means you can go up and down using the arrows here. If you choose random in a group, what happens is that the arrows, up and down arrows or previous and next arrows becomes dice. And if you click on the dice, you have a different selection of presets within the group. Try again. Okay, really, really nice. Now, let's select the part one now. Next, we have the selection here of the output in decibel, okay, and the meter itself, the number of voice that you want to use, depending on the hardware you have, let's say 16. And then you have access to glide, which will work better if we choose a lead. So can hear hopefully the portamento there. Okay, so let's choose the default preset. But of course, you can also initialize one, save a preset, save and exporting, and create your own group. Actually, why don't we initialize the preset? Okay, so let's close the preset view and let's enable the performance view. This is where you have shortcut or links to parameters which are contained in the oscillator view. So for example, here you have attack, okay, for the amplitude envelope here, same or release, like that. And then you have shortcut or dial for filter 1 frequency and then filter 1 resonance. So if you go to filter 1, you change this dial, you see the frequency changing. You can click at the top here on the names and you can decide to rename them. If you want to use a different name, it might be useful. You can decide to enter a value like 30% or 30, and it was selected to 30%. And you see the change there, you see the change down here as well. And also you can click on it and select unassign, and that shortcut will disappear. And let's say that you want to add a shortcut. Let's say we go to filter 2, we enable it, and let's say we select an algorithm like this one, and then we click on what it says, the label on the parameter, click connect, you can enter a value, or you click perform, and then here it gives you a choice to replace one of the parameters which are already in the performance view, or add the one which you have clicked on as an additional slot. In this case, let's assign it to slot number 4. There you go. Okay, so hopefully that is straightforward, and it's really nice because you know, you can use it for performance purposes, particularly if you have different synth open on the screen. So let's go now to the oscillator view. Now you have 4 oscillators that you can stack together. Really nice. You can choose the type of waveform here, decide how the phase is triggered, free or not, can adjust semitones, the pitch by semitones, synth. You can change the shape. So for example, in this case, triangle, if it's down to 0, it's a triangle. As you move it up, it moves into sawtooth waveform. And there are different morphs settings depending on the waveform you chose. So for example, on square, down to 0, the shape is a square waveform. As you move it up, it becomes a pulse. Okay, and of course, depending on what waveform you choose, like for example, phase distortion, you have access in this case to harmonics as well. You can decide if to use pan, left or right, as always, and then the level in decibel. So let's say that I want to build a thicker preset, and I select sine. That's fine. Let's go to oscillator number 2. So let's select sine again. This time let's change the pitch instead. Okay, do the same on oscillator number 3. Okay, something like that. Oscillator number 4. Okay, like that. Maximum. Let's change slightly the shape as well as we go up, like so. Why not? So interesting preset that you can create in this way. You also have 2 filters, which you can decide how to connect them later on through the routing section. Here you have access to the usual parameter frequency for cutoff. So if you want to open and close the filter, resonance, morphing between low pass, band pass, or high pass. You can also adjust the frequency and resonance here on the XY pad. Okay. You have access to the type of algorithm here, and also the drive. And as I mentioned, you have an additional filter as well. Okay, perfect. Next, you have access to the amplitude envelope here. So you adjust the parameter at the top here in terms of timing, like so. Time horizontally, the level, the point going up and down, and also the curvature, like that. Or simply click on the graph and then change it yourself like that. Okay, if you want to change the other parameters for sustain release, click on it and nudge it a little bit. In that case, you will see the labels here, the labels changing here to time 2, level 2, and slope 2, and works similar way. Timing, level, slope. In this case, the decay slope, right? And same on release, like so. You have timing, slope. Of course, you don't have level because it's going down to 0. Down here, you have access to the mode. At the moment, it is selected as sustain. It is the default one. So when you click on a note, it will sustain the volume. You can also set it to trigger. The sustain will be 0. Or you can have it in a loop mode, so it doesn't stop on sustain. It keeps repeating itself. Really nice. And then you can also adjust the bias as well with reference to the sustain level. Okay, you have also two additional envelope number 2 and envelope number 3. Works exactly the same as the amplitude envelope, but you can choose how to assign them. And of course, you have the same for LFO, 3 LFOs, really nice. You just enable the type of waveform from sine, ramp, up, down, triangle, square, or random as well. When you've done that, you decide if to have sync or not in terms of rate, like so. And then if you want it bipolar or not, the depth and the phase, if you want to change the phase settings. When you have an LFO settings done, you need to assign it to a target. To do that, you use the modulation metrics down here. This is where you see a list of all the sources which are used for modulation. So in this case, you select the source here. So in this case, LFO1, which is the one that we were changing. Then click, hold, and then move up and down to change plus or minus in terms of intensity. And then you choose the target here. So let's say we go for filter 1 and we go for resonance. Pay attention to the bipolar setting and where you are in terms of the position here on the XY pads or the diodes. So if it is no bipolar, it will only be adding, as it says here, intensity plus. So if it is up here, don't hear a huge amount. Okay, if you say bipolar, if you put it in the middle, it will go up and down. So remember, the settings here could change drastically the way it sounds and the way that it modulates. Of course, you have access to a lot of more modulation sources here, as you can see from the menu here. Lots, the LFO, other envelope, pitch bend, etc., etc., even down to the target. Look at the target. Even the LFO themselves can be set as target, including the envelope. Really nice. And then you have a submenu here where, if you click on it, then you can decide if to attach it to the performance view. If you want to enter a value, if you want to clear it, swap it with another one, copy and paste and cut. Okay. Next, we have access to filters here. Sorry, effects, not filters. Works straightforward in terms of settings, so I'm not going to go through all of them. Let's choose one. I don't know, the chorus. You set them on and off with the bypass setting. Decide to have the mix of dry and wet here. Intensity. And then change the rate 1 and 2 via diodes or via XY pads. So you have a nice delay effect as well with different modes like cross inverted. Are really, really nice. Here you can choose the timing, the feedback, etc., etc. Nice flanger as well, and a phaser as well, and distortion. Okay, so, and you have a routing section as well, which is very useful. Here you can decide the position of the filter, so they are in series mode at the moment, so one after the other. So you can choose to have them parallel, one on top of each other, so the sound is split between the two. Can have them shared split, like so. So it's quite interesting the way that this one works. And 2 by 2 equal split between the two filters, or 3 by 1, which is not an equal split, of course. Now select stereo, and then you can decide where to put the effect after both filter, after filter 1, or before filter 1. Okay, so let's choose another preset, default one. So hopefully that explanation was okay. Now, what I want to show you is that you can also use Mela as an effect. So it's a complete suite. So you choose it here as an insert effect. You open it up. Now, similar interface, but of course, this time is not about the sound, the synth source, the virtual analog synthesizer. It is about the effects. Okay, here you choose the effects. What I find really nice is that you have a lot of performance view settings down for each of the presets. It's really nice. You can, of course, disable each of the view as well. One other thing I wanted also for you to pay attention is, let's say we go to the initialize one. You have an envelope folder here, which is really nice. So let me show you how it works. So let's go and create another audio channel, and let's choose as an input Digistick 2, fantastic drum application from 4 pockets. Let's open it, synchronize it to this to the host. Oops, that's not what we want. Scroll down, create a simple pattern like so with the bass drum. Play. Okay, perfect. Now let's remove the audio here. Okay, perfect. Now let's click on the insert effects here for under Digistick, and let's select the multi-bus or the unit instance, and we select the instance corresponding to the insert effects which we already created on the first channel. Okay, let's go back to that insert effects. Under envelope folder, we choose Sidechain. Okay, you can also, let's click play, and you can also audition the sound coming in this case from Digistick. Really nice. You can choose pick or RMS mode. You can decide the attack and release for the audio input, the gain as well, the frequency, really nice, the type of filter you want, low pass, etc., and also the resonance. When you have done that, of course, you need to go to the modulation metrics, choose as a source the envelope folder, decide the intensity, and then the target, and then taking it from there. You can hear that the Digistick, the bass drum in that pattern, is modulating the input as an effect on Mela Effect 3, which is modulating up and down the input, which is coming from Mela 3 as a synth up here. And to show you how that is really working, let's change the pattern in real time. Really, really nice indeed. But that is not all. So let's create now a MIDI channel. And under MIDI channel, let's select Mela MIDI this time. Now let's redirect the keyboard here from AUM. So instead of going to Mela 3 the synth, it will go to Mela MIDI like so. Okay. And then let's connect the Mela 3 MIDI to Mela 3 the synth. Now let's open the Midi processor. Wow, so it can also act as a Midi processor. Again, you have a view here for different factory preset, a performance view here, and then down here you have your Arpeggiator with the different modes, the octave range, the rate, the length. You can decide to change the pitch. And also the velocity of set them or heavy random. Really, really nice. Let's choose different ones. course, you can connect it to other sources, right? So let's choose another audio source, audio unit, grand piano there, and let's connect these to Mela MIDI. You can see it's being used as a MIDI processor for multiple MIDI sources. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Hopefully, as you can see, it's a complete suite. You can use Mela 3 now as a synth in standalone mode, as an AUV3 plugin. You can use it as an insert effect, and also you can use it as a MIDI processor, which is fantastic. And of course, not only inside AUM, but also other hosts like Cubase, GarageBand, etc., etc. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye.